What's going on? What's going on? This is your boy, Afi Kingdom. Today we're going to be talking about a couple of things. I have a special guest, a friend of mine. He's an actor, influencer, entrepreneur. I got my brother Alpha Villains co-hosting with me. So let me go ahead and introduce AV first, and then we'll bring a guest in. AV, how you doing, my bro?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on as usual. Guys, it's a pleasure to be here. Looking forward to having this conversation with Mr. B. I go by the name of AV, aka Alpha Villains. Make sure you guys check out my YouTube channel, Alpha Villains, and my morning show, Finish Your Breakfast with AV. Weekday mornings, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's get it in.
Cool, cool. My man, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let them know who you are, what it is that you do, my brother.
Mr. B or Lee Baptiste. I'm a I'm an actor, and I was also work in cybersecurity. Mhm.
Hold on. Let me get us all here.
Mhm.
Good, my brother. So yeah, let's talk about let's talk about the game real quick.
Mhm.
So how did you get into the industry, my bro?
So it was by accident. When I was in college, my degree was in film and broadcast. So my big dream was, growing up, I watched a lot of Entertainment Tonight and John Tesh, if you remember Mary Hart. And I knew I was a movie aficionado from young, watching a lot of old movies with my parents, with a lot of my cousins. And what I really wanted to do was, my dream was, hey, to talk to celebrities, and on the red carpet, on the Oscars, and interview them, and that would have been it. So, and I was doing a lot of editing, and I was in the music industry for a while, working in there in New York, doing internships and jobs, and then I was like, this is not for me, So I enjoyed the editing part with Final Cut, and then a friend of mine, part of our major there was, we made our own films, but a friend of mine says, hey, would you like to act in this play I'm doing? All right, did one or two of did the plays a few times, and then I caught the bug. Immediately, I caught the bug. I had this book, which was a prerequisite for one of the classes. It's called Respect for Acting from Udahagen. And one of the teachers, Kate Grant, one of my professors, she gave it to me. And lo and behold, that was the school I ended up going to in the city. It was called HB Studios, which was made by Udahagen. She died many years ago, but they still carried on the school. A lot of great teachers taught there. Jeffrey Owens from The Cosby Show, he was there. And I had the two first teachers I had were Sam Groom. He was on a lot of soap operas, New York Undercover. And I had Michael Beckett, which was a big theater actor. And he did a Sidney Lumet movie in the early 80s. So, yeah, that's how it all started for me.
So you did theater too.
Yes, theater's where you start. You hear Denzel talk about it all the time. That is where you get your work in. It's not the film, it's the theater, because you can mess up. Everything's live in front of 50, 100, 100, 500 people, one shot. So we started there. We were doing about 3 shows a week in theater. So I
That's
started
awesome.
there. Yeah.
I remember seeing the Raisin in the Sun when Diddy did Raisin in the Sun,
Hmm.
and in the audience was Paula Abdul and Muhammad Ali, when he was alive, and it was just I was just such in awe of the acting and the ability and the charisma and everything that took place in theater,
Hmm.
because even as a content creator now, when you do a pre-upload, you have time to edit shit, you get to take things out, but when you go live, you go live. So I can definitely appreciate and understand the differences between theater and uploads, right? So, or movies. They're both difficult as well, but if you start, I believe, if you would start in theater, or if you start doing live streams, I would assume that theater or movies would be a little bit easier, because now you're kind of like off the cuff, and I would assume a lot of improvisation comes as a result of that. And like you said, you can mess up, but the show must go on. So
Oh,
how do
yeah.
you how do you how do you get the nerve? I mean, you were behind the scenes. You wanted to be a guy that's interviewing people. When you got the bug, when did you realize that this is something that you can possibly really enjoy making an impact on?
So it was two things. When I did the play for my friend, she's like, I think you should continue doing this. And when we left the play, I remember there was this like a bar. They had burgers and fries. And I had a friend. I haven't seen her yet. His name was Stephanie. And Stephanie looked at me, and we had class together. She did one of our thesis projects. She said, "Lee, if you want to do it, do it." That's what you want to do. She gave me that sense. I still ignored it. I said, whatever you. I went on. I started working, and then um, I got into when I got into HB. There was I haven't talked to her in years. Her name is Su Young, um, Suya Kang, and she's been in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the second one, which is on Netflix. She's done a good bit of films. John Malkovich, she worked with. We went to class. It was the first class, and there was about 30 people in the class. She said, "I'm just here to do the class." So it was just, I was at work and I needed something to do. And she goes, did a scene, and she goes, I looked around at everybody, and she says, "You got something."
Nice.
I didn't, you know what I mean?
Right.
Even when people tell you these things, you don't really go, nah, whatever. You just try. I'm just trying to navigate my way. And then she said that she goes, you look like you know what you're doing. I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to do, just like you, because she was a model coming in and trying to act because of her agents telling her to do, which a lot of people do. So that's how it started. And I just studied there for about. That was in the mid 2000s, like 2010, 2011, 2012. I was there for a while. I was there more than a year. Just Monday, Wednesday, Friday, after work, hopped on a train, 6 to 9. And getting the teachers were unbelievable over there.
Really quick before Fee, I know you have more questions, friend, but let me just say this, man. I can appreciate what you just said because, isn't it great to sometimes find somebody that acknowledges a talent or a passion within you, something that you may be uncertain of. I can say that about Afi Kingdom. You know what I mean? Like, he gave me an opportunity to get on this microphone. He allowed me to come on his show. Now we're really good friends, but I'm assuming he saw something in me that maybe I was timid to explore. Now I'm on my own, right? Type shit. But at the end of the day, when sometimes people will discover things in you or see things in you that you may not necessarily see in yourself, or you may not necessarily receive from your family, your friends, etc. They're like, Mr. B, you're not gonna do that shit, but go to school, or AV, you're too old to do this. So a lot of times, if you're fortunate enough to find somebody or to allow somebody to see something in you that you may not see in yourself, it's important for men to kind of just be open to listen to that, because sometimes we don't see the things that we can see in ourselves and other people will. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
How do you keep it going? How do you ignore the haters and stuff like that? Being that it's not a typical 9 to 5, people ain't gonna get behind that. You know what I mean? It ain't. It's an unorthodox thing unless you're already popping. So how do you keep your mind clear of the people that's gonna get you off track?
So it's it's funny you said that. So I go about it in two ways, especially when I'm in the gym with it. And certain, if I have to do with the way the landscape is now, I'm doing everything in. I have another room where I'm recording it. You're not even going to them live, so you're sending these tapes to the casting out there, and they're seeing it. So I'm really channeling a lot of moments and times where I'll make a long story short. I had this friend. When you have a friend, and hopefully, with you guys look really great. I have a friend, and you guys here. You have a friend. You hold onto that friendship very valuably, and that friend did me wrong. I'll keep it at that. Really wrong.
Right.
Let's just say you gave him $1, and the last dollar on your back, and stopped working and everything like that, and he didn't resend it back to me, and it was a whole thing. So when I think about that, I put a lot of that into the work, into that channel that into the work. There's always going to be people hating. They're like, "Yo, I didn't see you do this on TV yet." And the thing is that with this, you move in silence. Be an intern with it. Gary, you don't talk about. I never talk about necessarily what I'm doing. But like, we got a few projects, and then I had a few commercials that came on TV, and people like, "You were in this? Why you didn't tell me?" I'm on to the next project. I don't really sit in there and I don't really go, I've made it. No, you go back to the work. You go back to one really quickly. I don't get caught up into the Kool-Aid of everything. It's all about the work. Anything we do this here, what you guys are doing, it's all about the work.
Well said.
It's all about the work.
Well said.
It's funny, even though even you say that, like, even as I got on to just how I got onto YouTube just right now, like how it just says new tab, you want to do a recording, a new podcast. Like, it's just funny how everything keeps up with everything. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when doing a podcast was like a nerd thing. Now the rappers want to do it, the actors want to do it, the women want to do it. It just becomes such a thing now, and I just shake my head because it just. I remember when I was considered corny for listening to people talk
Hmm.
and not watching TV. I was a nerd, and now and Mr. Nerd
Mm-hmm.
is doing the thing that everybody aspires to do now.
Well, watch this. You guys are spitting facts. Mr. B, I love what you said. It's all about the work. Let your work speak for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. I mean, we always encourage men to do that, to be the proof, right? It's cool to listen to people. It's cool to want to aspire to do certain things. But where's the work, right? It's all about results, not effort. And what Afi said also was very important as well. You used to be called corny. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody's doing it. Now you're a trendsetter. So it's very important, man, to focus on things that you can control and to perfect your craft. Now, it can be a tough thing. I mean, I've been through some transitions as well. And when you mentioned that story about a friend doing you dirty, it can definitely slow you down. But some of the things that you said, I loved about channeling that feeling of betrayal. Like, damn, my nigga, you did me dirty like that. Me and Afi talk about this all the time. There's some people that I'm gonna stun on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people that I want to like rub in their face and shit. And I always say this as well, Mr. B. A hater's silence is loud. They're not gonna say shit to you, shit, but the streets is watching. I was looking at my analytics the other day. I got 5,000 followers on Instagram, but my shit's reaching 50,000 accounts.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, where's the 50,000 followers? The streets is always watching, man. So it's always important, guys, that if you get done dirty, you're on a purpose or a path. People ridicule for doing what you want. As long as you focus on the work and it's something that you want to do, bro, fuck the haters, man, because they're gonna watch you and they're gonna want to be a part of it eventually once you make it.
Yeah. To add on to that, I'll tell you what happened after that. So we didn't speak for a while, and I have like networks. I tell everybody, treat networks very, very good and carefully to watch how you treat people, have respect for people no matter what. And I have a friend in the gym I've known him since we were kids, and he's an artist and he became a director. We have a film that will hopefully it's being sold to the sales agents,
Nice.
be on Netflix and different things. So we have a big name in there, two big names.
Very good.
I could say it, yeah. Darren Barnett, he's in the film. He's on Never Have I Ever on Netflix, star of the show, doing very well. And we were on set, and the same individual who owed me, who did me wrong, I saw him. We were on set, lights, everything, the trucks, you name it, were there for the film. It was a big film on the block. People were coming out to see what it was. I came and I saw him, but I went back on set. So I came back, and he saw me. And then they took off my mic or whatever it is. So I went, he says, "Hey, what's going on?" Put his hand out. I just looked at him. He said, "You're not going to shake my hand?" I said, "No."
Bravo.
Because he's looking, because from where I was to now, he's like, these guys shut down the block to make a movie.
Right.
So that's sometimes a sweet victory. Sometimes, some people like to stab the knife, but I like to turn the knife really slow.
Let's go.
Let it sit there, because
Now we're talking.
Because there are going to be a lot of people. There's a lot of people who are not going to have your best interest at all. Just not. You're going to be on YouTube. You're doing well, man. Just not.
Would you agree that the people in Hollywood and just the movies scene period are the most ruthless people of mankind, or no?
Yes or no? You got to know how to navigate. If you don't know how to navigate those waters, or if you don't have,
Sermon.
people in this to teach you, that's why it's always when you get to a certain level, and let's just say Alpha Villains wants to know hey, I want to get to show him. So when he gets there, I'm like, this is how you negotiate a contract. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. Because when I got there, I didn't know certain things.
Sure.
You just don't know. So you need you need to have a network. You need to have, a group of guys, whoever it is, who are going to go, this is how you're going to do this. So you know how to, is a deal, it's a pitch, this is what you're going to say. This is exactly what I say, especially someone who's done it from before. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you said that too, because a lot of us think we can do it by ourselves, and I'm learning that. I mean, it's like you can, but you can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you can, but why would you if you don't have to?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's like Shark Tank for me. If you guys watch Shark Tank, it's one of my favorite shows. It's sort of like, look, if I got 100% of a business and I don't know how to do 30% of a business, I'll split up with you guys 15-15. Everyone eats. Because let's say you're good at marketing and let's say you're good at sales, for example, and I'm good at being the face. I need someone to sell it. I need someone to market it. So why don't cut you in? Everybody wins.
Very important.
It's better than getting zero. Some people rather go, well, it's 100 and zero. No. Sometimes you do have to give up a little bit. Not all the time.
Sure.
But
Let me ask you this, Mr. B. How do you think the game has changed film in the industry since social media's breakthrough? Because people are making themselves famous nowadays. So, like, how do you feel about that?
honestly, right
Skipping the
now,
steps.
a lot YouTube can sometimes pay people more than certain films and TV, which is why
Sure.
they're doing it. And TikTok. They're getting out there, like, hence why. If you noticed, what is her name? She has a few 100 million TikTok followers. I think her name is Madison. I don't
It's
want to
not a
say her name.
content that she did.
Yeah, she has and she got a film on Netflix, which she doesn't. That money that she paid on Netflix does. Who knows what she got? It doesn't translate what she's getting on TikTok. Because the business up and down. Because right now, what's going on in the industry is there's not that many pilots being shot. It's a low number of pilots that's being shot because there's a potential writer's strike on the film end that's coming up in May. That could affect me. That could affect a lot of people who are already in the union. But on the voice end, I do voice and commercial. It doesn't affect that end, but it does affect 1/3 of the pie right there. So people are going to go to YouTube like, hey, you guys are combined and get 3 million subscribers, and you have, how many hours of views. You guys will come out prettier than some of these actors that you see on the red carpet. Sure.
Very important what you just said too. Like, now let me ask you this, because that was a good question after you in regards to how the game has changed because of all the outlets. I would assume it's a good and bad thing. Do you find that because you went to school that you put in the work and you really take the craft seriously, that someone like that woman that we just discussed with 100 million subscribers or followers can easily get a film? And you know what I mean? So it kind of takes away from the talent, because Afi and I talk about this all the time. You see a lot of guys that I used to want to aspire to be like, with a fraction of the talent that I think that I have, but yet the subscribers and their influence and their reach is a lot harder. So for me, I find it frustrating that although I understand that I have to perfect my craft, sometimes it could be a little bit discouraging because of those outlets like the TikToks and the girls twerking their asses, and now they got a shot at a fucking movie while you've been writing movies, you've been doing shit that's really of quality. What would you tell people that life is like that? How do they push past those inevitable obstacles?
Well, what I would say too is, what I'm doing too, and I talk to F5 about this, is create your own content. Which is, I have a couple of scripts that I wrote that I'm going to produce. You can't wait to get fed. You have to go out there and, really take the chance on yourself to do that, to finance your own films and dream. Because what ends, I go back to Shark Tank again. You finance this, and I put this film on Tubi. There's a lot of ways, Apple, iTunes, everything on a lot of smart TVs that you can self-produce and put those things on. There's a lot of different ones that people don't know about. You go on there and you go, hey, I have 1 million people who streamed and watched this. I put it for $14.99. I had 100,000 people buy it. Somebody's going to be like, it's sort of like the money and violence thing where people are like, whoa, Lionsgate wants to pick this up, or somebody wants to pick this up. Right. It's all about finding that audience, making those good stories, because we're consumers by nature. This is what we do. So we're looking for that next show or that next. Well, did you see that show that Mr. B put out, or whoever it is, AFI? Oh, that's a dope show. It's something. And so that would be a way around it. Now, to the other side of your question with that young lady, it's sort of like, let's just say that movie that she put it, they gave her, did 50 million. It was top 10, because Netflix does what's on the top 10. She's going to get more films because the numbers say that, well, people are watching her. They want to see more of her. That's what it comes down to. It has zero to do if she can act or not. She probably could, but it's about money, numbers, analytics.
Right.
Same thing like baseball. They took out the pitchers. If you watch baseball, pitchers used to pitch 9 innings. Now the analytics tell them they go around, what is it, 3 go arounds and you're out.
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
Crazy.
so it comes down to.
What would you give like what maybe 3 suggestions would you give a new actor coming in? Like what to do, starting at theater. Like what would you tell them? I'm asking that. I just made a video. I mean, I just wrote a book about uh, future for future content creators, podcasters, and all of that.
Yeah.
Just telling them about the downfall. So, like, what would you tell a new person coming in that wants to get in the game?
Study with the best. There's a lot of acting teachers who go, I taught so and so, and sometimes they haven't. I have someone, a good coach in my life, who I studied with. I studied with someone privately, and I met someone who changed my life about 6 years ago when I didn't want to quit, but when you're in that purgatory in your career. So I would tell people to study with the best. It's going to cost. Everything it's going to cost. You put your money in the stock market, you're going to lose it or you're going to gain it. It's going to go either way, but it's going to cost. You can't expect zero and get something out of it. It's very few and very rare. So I would tell them to study with the best. There's a few teachers in New York, LA, all over that they can study with. I can name some names. There's like a Ted Stureski. There's the Freeman Studios, where I went to. Really good. Those are 2, for example. And the next thing I think was another important thing, what they try to do, have great headshots. Stop having your cousin do your headshots, because that is your calling card.
Right.
The headshot I'll send to you guys after. I did a new one recently, but the one I had before, I did it with this photographer named Jordan Matter. Jordan Matter's not even doing headshots anymore. He has 10 million YouTube subscribers, and he's doing things with his daughter.
Nice.
And he used to do Time Magazine. He did Vanity Fair. He's done everything. When he shot my headshot, I did somebody says, who is that guy? I won for this commercial. No audition. I paid a few hundred for those headshots. Let's say it. I think at that time was about 5 years ago, was about maybe 700. And I 10 times that, maybe 20 times that.
Let's go.
No bull.
I believe you.
I did. I tell everybody said, what's that headshot? Who is the wow? Because he gave me a specific look. So I would tell people, get a good, don't be skimpish. You're going to have to put some money up front, but those things can get you jobs that you never know where that headshot's going to land, who's casting office, who's agent. They go, hey, you just never know. Sure. So that would be the second thing. And the third advice I would tell them would be, so he said 3, learn to write, direct, learn all the assets of the business. So when things are rough, you know how to create your own things.
Boom. Sound advice. And you know what it boils down to, Mr. B, from what I gather, man, it's all about investing in yourself. We tell guys this all the time, how bad do you want it? How much do you believe in yourself? How much do you value and want to improve? A lot of guys will reach out to Afi for coaching. They'll get a coaching session and shit, and he'll steer them in the right direction, then only to go back into relapse to doing the same shit. And then they'll blame Afi because they're not getting the results. So yeah, it's going to cost you. Study with the best, study success. But if you don't invest in yourself, you can't expect anyone to take you seriously or invest with you as well. We talk about women a lot because, guys, that's what they want to hear. Mm-hmm. Guys get mad at women, you know what I mean? Because women aren't complying, they're doing dumb shit. And that's because the woman doesn't take you seriously. But a woman will never take you seriously if a man doesn't take himself seriously. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this, mm-hmm. in regards to, you seem very passionate, you seem very focused. How does this, not you per se, but in general, how would you say this affects relationships, and where should a person who believes in himself, who has dreams bigger than anything else, how should he prioritize his relationships or select a partner perhaps that will help him on his mission?
Well, for me, I prioritize my business and everything first.
Boom.
Because that's the pillar. And if you get there, and if you happen to be with somebody, they benefit. But if you sacrifice for it, there's a lot of regret. you're angry, things don't happen a certain way. I've seen it happen to friends of mine. Resentment. So you got to prioritize that. So that's how it is on my end with me. I definitely that. I've always done that. I've never not compromised that. I will never compromise that.
Oh,
And it would have to be, if you're with someone, because I go to the gym and I navigate, and when you talk certain conversations around certain women about money and finance, a lot of them don't have a clue. They don't. They're like
zero.
When you throw things at them about the market, there was this one young lady in my gym who talked to, and she's in nursing. She's like, I know you're in the market. What should I do? I says, you got the edge already. She goes, what do you mean by that? I said, you're in nursing. You know all the drugs that are going to phase 3. You understand certain things. You know what drugs that the doctors give the patients. Research those drugs. Go back to it. If it's some Merck, and go, whoa. So I said, you have the edge, but a lot of them don't think that way. We have to make sure that, we have 2, 3, 4 incomes going in here, the way the world is going, because look what's happening. Yeah. A lot of them don't really think that way. When you start talking that way, and they look at you, their perception of who you are, and you start throwing that, they're like, I don't know if I'm going to want to deal with this man.
Boom.
I get that sometimes. So
very important.
He's a little bit too smart. I can't put the wool over his head.
Right.
Because he understands what's going on. He understands the way money works. A lot of them don't.
Right.
Don't. On opening businesses and doing different things like that, and tax codes and different. They don't. So when you where's this come from? I just thought he was a meathead.
Nigga.
So, yeah.
Let me ask you this, brother.
Yeah.
As far as the dating and the hypergamous nature of women, how's that going? You gonna keep your shit on the low? Do you lead with it? Do you bait with it? I'm an actor. Keep that. How do you do that?
I don't tell them anything.
No.
They discover. Most of someone that see it, they discover. I don't really go out and I don't lead out with that, because if you lead out with that sometimes. So what have you done lately? What have you done on this show, or who'd you work with? Oh, if it's a small role, it's like, okay. So I don't lead out with that. I say, I work in cyber. I do different, I have a business. And then if they happen to see, it's a funny example that happened with someone that I know. And then they says, you didn't tell me you do commercials. I saw your George Foreman commercial late at night. I'm like, okay, cool. And I keep it moving.
Boom.
You liked it? All right, cool. I don't elaborate on it. I don't keep going on it, because it's, I enjoy the experience of doing it, but it is what it is. I have to move on. There's bigger fish to fry with it. That's how I look at it. But I love what I do, but I don't go, and what if they ask questions, do you want to be in the business? And I go, so how'd you do this? And I'll explain to them. But further, I don't elaborate I don't elaborate. Whatever it is, they just go, oh. And then Google's a big thing. They just Google the name, they go, comes up. It's like, oh. Okay.
I love that. We talk about that a lot. You have
to be an ninja out here. You have to be the Bruce Wayne. You have to be back. You got to kind of be mysterious. Not everything needs to be said. It needs to be shown sometimes.
I say that a lot too. I say discovery trumps disclosure.
Yeah.
A lot of guys tend to lead with shit. If you discover it, great. Man, you didn't tell me you were doing this and shit. Yeah, it wasn't the time, or I didn't feel like it was a big deal, because what I'm doing is a priority. See, like you said too, it's very important, guys. We encourage you guys to be the best version of yourselves, focus on your purpose, find something. You're going to come across a lot of women that you'll see on podcasts that are quote unquote bad, big titties, big asses and shit like that, but they don't have a clue about entrepreneurship. They don't have a clue of the things that you have to endure to be the guy that they think that they want, or they think that they can fucking handle. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when you find a woman, you talk about, you talk about entrepreneurship, P&Ls, you talk about how you have an edge and they look dumbfounded. A lot of times, her rejection or her ghosting you isn't necessarily because you're doing something wrong. It's because she inherently knows you're out of her fucking league. And as a result, she's not going to tell you that, because we already know she's egotistical and narcissistic. But it's important for you to know that if you are doing things, like for instance, Mr. B, Afi, myself, I'm an aspiring author. There's a lot of things that I'm doing as well. When I go out, I look at these women now, and not with, not with a stank ass attitude, but, I know what I'm doing. I don't necessarily hold it against them, but if a woman tries to hold something against me that's frivolous and something that most men cannot do, I no longer take it personal. I just keep it moving, because I know it's difficult to find people that are like-minded, and I know it's difficult to find a woman who's going to compliment what the hell I'm doing. So I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah.
What is your stance on relationships as far as like, are you are you a guy who wants to get married? Are you in a commitment, or are you just player? What's your vibe?
Wow. So I do want to be in a relationship. I do want to be married. I love children. A lot of nieces and nephews. They come to my. I take care of them. I have a lot of god kids that I take care of, and I try to do well by them in the sense that a lot of godparents, they give their kids, they give their god kids toys. I give them money, and the next thing is, if I'm doing well, to give them land, to give them something
right
that they can use. Because they're not going to be using whatever the latest toy is right now, the He-Man toy. They're going to throw it away.
Right.
What they can use. So I have some like, oh wait, make this custodial account for them. Do this for them. Money is making when they sleep.
Nice.
So if more of us did that, we would win. We don't. I'm going to bring up baseball again. We need to be 3 for 10 to get into the Hall of Fame. We only need 3 brothers to win. We don't need all 10. No disrespect, but we need a small few to win. That's it, and we're golden, and that's how I look at it. That's how I look at anything.
You in New York, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about migrating over to Atlanta, since they say that's like Black Hollywood?
Atlanta's too slow for me. I did some commercials there. It's good. I've for work in my work life, I've done a lot of business through Alpharetta, through Atlanta, through that hub. It's great, but it's slow. And I'm a fast-paced person. It would have to, if there's a show and I have to go down there, sure I would go. Some of the agents, they do send me out for things over there, in some of the breakdowns. Breakdown guys, meaning if you don't know, is a casting. If they have something out there, maybe it's a Tyler Perry show or whatever shows that are filming in Atlanta, they'll submit me for certain roles in my demographics. That's what breakdowns are. So yeah, I don't know. That's a place, honestly, if you've been or not been, you go in, you go out. For me, because if you go there too long, I have some stories, man. You put on some weight there in a few days because the food hits the spot.
Right. That's southern cooking, man. Them ham hocks and all that shit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's good. I stay on a diet, but you're down there for a while. You're like, you gotta, it's good.
Do you travel abroad any or no?
Not before COVID, I did. Since 2020, I haven't. Before this, I was never home really. So 40% of my job used to be travel, Eastern Seaboard, wherever it was. I'm supposed to go to Dubai for my other job, but with COVID, a lot of restrictions that kind of hampered that. But it's funny you brought that up. I was out with some, being in the gym, there's a brotherhood in there, and I've known these guys for many years, and we sat down in the back in the couches and we talked. And there are 2 guys that I've known for years. That's all they do is travel. They came back from Cuba. They're going to Colombia, Singapore, and they're like, let's get a group chat. Let's put our funds together and let's go there. But on top of that, we're trying to we even talked about, with the currency as I think you told me the currency in Cuba is 1,800 to 1. If you get an intermarried third person that, that's a reliable, trusted business partner, you can build some type of Airbnb. This is how we're thinking, because that's why a lot of people are leaving certain parts of the U.S. or if they're retired, they're going these other places because their money stretches longer due to the cost of inflation out here. Sure.
Yeah, I feel like every man, especially a black man, should get out and travel the world. Not obviously for women, but just to see different ways of life, forms of life, and just how also mainly how people appreciate small shit. All that. See, this is what when people don't travel, they miss out. Like all this, people care about all this stuff and all of that. Mm-hmm. It's not like that other places, man. And you don't know that until you see it. And I could even tell somebody like it ain't like that over there. They don't grasp it until they just go travel and stuff. So I just think that everybody.
It's very important what you said because a lot, especially here, like you said, those things they view brown melanated men differently. Racism ain't going anywhere. This is a worldwide thing. But sometimes the way that we are perceived or the way that we behave as a result of the perception isn't necessarily reflected elsewhere. If you go to Europe, you go to different countries, we're actually celebrated, and we always encourage men to go where you're celebrated. Just like you said, Mr. B, that Atlanta is too slow for you because you are self-aware, you have discernment, you're thinking in the future. It's all about legacy and building your brand, which is very important. And a lot of guys can't relate to this. Just like we just said a few minutes ago, that women can't relate to the shit that you say. A lot of men can't relate to the shit that we say too. But for me in particular, I try not to let that affect my message, because I'm only good as my message is only pure and as good as who I am or I'm aspiring to be. So it's very important, guys, to not only go where you're celebrated, but broaden your horizons, bro. See what's good. Trust yourself. Don't rely on validation from other people that don't fucking matter, friends, etc., and shit like that, even family, because nobody's gonna live your dream. And for the most part, most dreams will be laughed at until they see you on the big screen, until they see you on the microphone, and they're not gonna know what to say. So it's important for you to broaden your horizons and really go to where places that you're celebrated, so you can live and focus on the things that you really love.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Wow.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
This is my last question, and then we probably have one. This is a little off, but I'll be watching certain programs. And just your opinion on like the Illuminati part. Like, are people selling their souls to get parts?
Not that I know of. I mean, on my level, I don't. You know, right now for me, I'm just trying to, I'm booking what they say co-star roles, which are 5 lines and under, guest star roles, which some of the episodes is around you, leads in indie films, and so that's where I'm not where you're seeing a lot of these people at the Oscars to know and understand. Have I heard it? Yeah, but I wouldn't know. As I said, going back to earlier, my job is to portray a character, to go on set, do my work fast, efficiently, because time is money, and that's how I look at it. Especially if I'm in there for a day or two, just to get in and do my thing, because the perception is this guy's a workhorse. I want him back again, so I don't really worry about any of the other things like that. So yeah,
that's important. That's a very good answer too, because we can't really, and this is a teachable moment for all you guys listening, entertaining the noise, entertaining the frivolous shit. Yeah, sure, it's entertaining. Sure, we've all heard about the Illuminati and selling your soul and all that shit. But like Mr. B said, he understands his mission, right? And he tries not to get distracted. This is something that's very important. A lot of times, FOMO, fear of missing out, women will distract you and cause you to get off your purpose and get off your mission. You got a job to do it. Time is money. We can't get it back. Being men of certain age, every age or every decade comes, life starts to go by even faster. So anything is possible, but you have to focus on what you should be entertaining. What is that noise conducive to your mission? A lot of you niggas get distracted because you have no mission. If you had a goddamn mission and you knew the importance of your mission, you wouldn't worry about frivolous shit like women that have no value, that are not going to bring anything to you, or dealing with toxic friends or people who are just negative that might get you into trouble. Don't jeopardize what you are working hard towards. If you're not a content creator or an actor, use your last name as your brand. Be a man that focuses on protecting his goddamn brand, and then that will open up doors for you and attract the energy that you need, bro. Don't focus on the dumb shit.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Mr. B, you got anything that you want to leave the audience with? I mean, obviously, I want you to tell them, where they can find you and what you have coming up. But first, I want to see if you have some gems that maybe I didn't ask you about, some things that you feel it's important for the listeners to know, either about you, the game, or just something that maybe you just struck a chord in your mind.
Yeah. So it's probably something general. And I would say, trust yourself. Surround yourself with like-minded people. You're around guys like I'm with you guys who, you're about your business, your content, trying to get somewhere. Those are the people you hang out with. Like for me, there's people who will call me on the phone, and if you're not talking about business or accelerating, I don't want to have to sit down here and have the time to talk about you 10 to 20 minutes about something that is not pushing something else forward. Yes. That's the biggest thing. I think we have a lot of people like that in our lives. They call you, and it's cool. And you talk.
I call it remember the times.
Yeah,
They're not bringing anything current or future into your frequency.
yeah,
It's just about remember the key word of those conversations. Remember this. Remember that. I just call it remember the time.
yeah. So it's like with you guys, if I know, I say, hey, I know somebody who's a content creator. This is like a little circle. I'm like, hey, I know Alpha Villains. That's how I do things.
Yes, me too.
You need to introduce. It's like our little LinkedIn. That's what we have to start doing. So I would tell people that, and if you're doing things, I would tell people don't talk about what you're doing. Don't talk about a lot of your plans. It's sort of like, I hate to make this analogy, but when a lot of these things happen in the world, people, when a lot of these travesties, they didn't talk about what they were planning. It happened.
Right.
So we want to, and I'm showing it in that light, but we want to keep things under the radar. And then when it's ready to be revealed, like certain things, if I have a film, like I'll put it, the director wants to, I'll do it. But further than that, I will film it. The only way you see if it's on IMDb or something like that. Right. But I don't really talk about it. Close friends, yeah.
Sure.
I'll tell you, when you're working on some stuff, I can't talk about it yet. There's a lot of NDAs, but you can't talk about things yet.
Sure.
Which I'm under right now with about a few projects.
Nice.
So, I would tell people that too. And the next thing I would money's not everything, but what's going on is to really invest and make money work for you. 24, however you can. However you can take that $1 in your pocket and make it $5. Like, we can talk about this another day. I do options trading, and it's a beautiful thing if you know what you're doing, and to take one contract at $100 and it could turn to $50 in a matter of 5 minutes. It may seem small to some people, but you got to realize that it takes certain people how long to make that $50 if they're on the clock doing something.
Right.
I would definitely educate, be around like-minded people. Your physique, your body is essential in your health. If you have that and you have everything else, no one can say anything to you.
Oh,
can't. They have to really find, if you're smart, you know what you're doing, you know what you want, you're around the network, you have things in play, you're building legacy, whatever it is that you're doing. You can't really.
You can't tell me shit. What are you talking about?
You can't really.
Right.
You're on another level. And I think a lot of men, really, they think about the gym as, it's too hard or it's too this. Get in there and just do the work. It's gonna take time. Nothing happens overnight. The film career doesn't happen overnight. Being a CEO doesn't happen overnight. It's putting in the work day after day with the food. Yeah, we slip up, but the day you slip up, that one meal, you get back on the next day and you keep doing it. And over time, the body will give you over time to give you, it'll turn around something, that return for you.
Thanks.
So I would tell, those are the 4 things I would lead with. But the biggest thing I would say, hey, it's the people you hang with. I only hang with positive people are doing other things. If you're doing something or talking about something I really want, I exit myself really fast because I got other things to do.
Facts.
Time is moving fast. So.
Yeah, that's excellent, man. Well, what you got coming on, and where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at the Equalizer 253, and I don't post so much because I'm so busy with a lot of different things. I'll put things in stories, different things like that. I'll throw AFIs and certain things, but I'm so busy. So, if I do post, it's very rare, but I'm there. You can reach out to me there. Also, if you have any inquiries about getting into the business, I have my own business called Affirmation Entertainment LLC. So I do consulting, film production in there. I can get crews, different things like that. That's one part. It's a big asset of different things, and people can hire me under my business for certain different things. But so yeah.
That's awesome, my brother. Well, I appreciate having you. AB, any last words, and let them know what you got going on?
This was excellent, man. Thank you, man. It was a pleasure meeting you, Mr. B.
Pleasure meeting you too.
I'm looking forward to your films, man. I'm looking forward to future, projects. Hopefully, we can come together and do some more things, man, and impact the world, man. But again, I go by the name of AV, aka Alpha Villains. Make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check out my morning show, Finish Your Breakfast with AV, weekday mornings, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you know what it is, man. Thanks for having me on, Alpha.
All good. And as for me, make sure you guys my at. You guys follow me on Instagram, international.afi, Afi Kingdom Books, King Genius Afi, Mr. International King Afi. Follow all the socials. Um, I got a couple new books coming for you guys. Let me name them off. I'm gonna give y'all some advanced game real quick. I'm telling y'all, I got the kids book coming up, dropping next month. Afi Links and Rose, that's done. And I got two how-to books coming out, which is so you want to be a content creator, and so you want to be an author. So that's a new little series that I'm starting. So you want to be those the how-to books. Just so y'all know. So I got those three dropping, and then coming along, and the next one after that, I'm gonna have my last two game. I'm telling you guys right now. I'm really making an announcement for you guys. If you guys ain't got the female shit in order by 2023, I'm like Jay-Z. Don't ask me. Go buy the old albums, because that's how we doing the books now.
Facts.
I'm telling you. Goddamn. I got so many fucking books. So April, I'm dropping the how-to series. We already got off the dating shit. So we already dropping the how-to and the kid book. But I know y'all want some booty. So guess what? I'm gonna still bless you guys. I got two books for you. But guess what? I'm such an asshole. These two books are advanced games. So if you can't get phone numbers, you can't even buy these books no way. And those two books are Expo Level Game. It's the cover looks like Zelda, and Master of Her Desires. These cover advanced strategies like emoji game and things like that. High level shit, not how to, but shit that basically these two books you gotta already be fucking bitches and shit to even. It's like cherry and whipped cream on top of the ice cream. They're advanced strategy. Wow. Don't get these books trying to learn how to get laid. Like, no, you're supposed to already know how to be doing
getting
that
laid
from the old books. You gotta keep building. I can't do the same one. No, so this is like the bonus pack books. Don't fuck with these books. Don't get these books if you ain't fuck with the older books, bro. It's not gonna make no sense. So I got that for y'all coming. And the last ones, we're gonna work on some scripts. We got Analytical Confusion 2. We gonna do that one. That's a slick, only AV and a few other cats know about this. A slick 3-part story that all intertwines. It's cold. And it's on some real deep shit. I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna just drop us a hint. The first story is about what life would be if sex had no pleasure. It's called No Pleasure. So these are the type of things that I want to fucking talk about. I don't want to talk about these hoes and shit. I'm just telling y'all, bro. I want to talk about the hoes y'all got. That's what I want. Not the ones y'all trying to get. Let's talk about the ones that y'all have. Come on, we 5 years in this shit. So.
Tighten up.
Other than that, yeah, man, I got a fire podcast coming and all that. I appreciate my brother, and I appreciate you. You know, you could tap in with me. Oh yeah, and then the last thing, consultation, dominanceMindset.org if you want a consultation about dating, books, and shit like that. You pay for the time. That's how you get that. If you want to talk about the girls, we can talk all day, but you just gotta pay me for it. Peace, y'all. Have a good one.
Peace.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me again. I really
Absolutely,
appreciate it.
Man.
Yes.
Follow,
Thank you.